Here is the mistake almost every older man makes. He tries to look young instead of looking certain. You buy the drink, carry the conversation, keep the jokes coming, and somehow the vibe still feels off. She smiles, thanks you, and drifts back to her world. You go home wondering if age is the whole problem. It is not. The problem is pace and energy. When you push, you look needy. When you posture, you look fake. Younger women read that in seconds. There is a better way. It is not tricks or lines. It is a calmer rhythm built on presence, restraint, and respect. It is using your maturity as an advantage instead of hiding it. Think of flirting as music. The pauses matter more than the noise. Eye contact, a relaxed voice, a small smile that ends before it begs for approval. This is where Stoicism helps. You master yourself first, then you let your energy lead. No chasing, no proving. Just a steady frame that makes her feel safe and curious at the same time. In this video, I will show you how subtle flirting works for older men, the mistakes that signal desperation, and the habits that create pull. You will learn what to say, what to leave unsaid, and how to let anticipation do the work for you. Stay with me. Let's get into it. Number 1. The power of subtle flirtation. Most men think flirting means chasing, joking, or showing off. But when you're an older man, subtlety is your most powerful move. Younger women don't want a man who tries too hard. They're drawn to the one who knows how to hold back. That restraint, that quiet confidence is what makes her curious. Because subtle flirtation isn't about doing more. It's about doing less with precision. Let's talk about Mark, 56, divorced, successful, and getting back into dating. He met Sarah, 38, at a wine tasting. Most guys in his position would have leaned in too soon, trying to sound clever, complimenting her eyes, maybe touching her arm a little too fast. But Mark didn't. He kept the conversation light, asked about her favorite reds, listened and smiled in that calm, knowing way that says, "I'm not in a rush." When Sarah mentioned she loved hiking, he didn't pounce. He simply said, "Maybe one day you'll show me your favorite trail." Then he changed the topic. That one sentence landed harder than any smooth pickup line could. Why? Because it left space for curiosity. It told her, "I'm interested, but I'm not chasing." That's the art of subtle flirtation, revealing just enough to create tension and then stepping back to let her imagination do the work. Subtle flirtation is power under control. It's the glance that lasts half a second longer than normal. It's the small smile that fades before she can fully process it. It's confidence that speaks through stillness. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you start to project mystery, and mystery is magnetic. Younger women notice everything. They read energy faster than words. When you come off too eager, they feel the imbalance immediately. It tells them you're seeking validation. But when you stay calm, composed, and playful in your restraint, you trigger something entirely different: intrigue. She starts wondering what kind of man doesn't need to chase her attention to feel important. That's when the dynamic flips. Here's the thing, subtle flirtation is not passive, it's intentional. It's knowing that attraction grows in contrast, giving her attention, then taking it away, showing interest, then turning your focus elsewhere. The balance between signal and silence is what keeps her hooked. And when it's done right, she'll start leaning toward you, physically, emotionally, conversationally. The beauty of being an older man is that you've lived enough to understand rhythm. You know when to speak and when to pause. You understand that silence isn't empty, it's full of presence. When you carry that energy, you separate yourself from younger men who rely on loudness and quick validation. You lead without forcing. In Stoic terms, this is self-command. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Subtle flirtation is self-mastery in motion. You don't react to impulse, you guide it. You let anticipation build, and that anticipation becomes attraction. Mark later told me Sarah texted him that night saying, "I liked our talk, it felt easy." That's how you know you did it right. When a woman feels ease, she feels desire in disguise. If you want to practice this art, start with stillness. Listen more than you speak. Give short, honest compliments and step back. Let her feel your energy instead of hearing about it. The less you reveal, the more she wants to find out. If you're ready to lead with calm, instead of chase with effort, make that mindset clear. Comment, "I move with purpose." Stay tuned, because next we'll talk about why maturity is your greatest advantage and how your life experience becomes the very thing that makes her want you more. Number 2, why maturity is the real advantage. Here's the truth. Maturity isn't a weakness in attraction. It's your hidden weapon. The problem is, most men over 40 forget that. They try to compete with youth instead of owning their edge. But women, especially younger ones, don't crave immaturity, they crave certainty. And that's what true maturity gives you: calm certainty. The quiet confidence of a man who's not performing, not pretending, not seeking approval. You see, younger men bring energy, but older men bring gravity. Energy comes and goes, it's loud, impulsive, unpredictable. Gravity pulls people in without noise. It's a presence that says, "I've been through enough storms to know what actually matters." That's what younger women notice first. Not your age, not your wrinkles, but your energy. You don't chase excitement. You create it through steadiness. Maturity is attractive because it signals control. You've learned when to speak, when to stay quiet, and when to simply observe. That balance feels rare today. When everyone's chasing reactions, the calm man becomes a refuge. He's not trying to prove he's still got it. He knows he does. And that kind of knowing can't be faked. The Stoics understood this long before dating apps existed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That line alone sums up mature attraction. You don't explain your worth, you demonstrate it. You don't justify your age, you embody the wisdom it gave you. The Stoic man doesn't compete with the young. He mentors life itself. His maturity doesn't age him, it elevates him. What younger women often find irresistible isn't flash or money, it's steadiness under pressure. The way you handle conflict without raising your voice. The way you stay grounded when things get messy. The way you laugh not to impress, but because you genuinely see the humor in life. Those are signs of mastery, emotional intelligence wrapped in composure. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing youth, you start embodying something far more magnetic, masculine: peace. When a woman feels that peace, she relaxes. Her guard drops. You become the man she can lean into, not the man she has to manage. That's what maturity does. It shifts you from competing for attention to commanding it effortlessly. Maturity also gives you perspective. You've lived long enough to know that attraction isn't about looks, it's about energy exchange. When you show calm presence, you create safety. When you combine that safety with curiosity and wit, you create desire. It's a balance most younger men can't reach because they're still chasing validation. You're not. You've outgrown that game. Epictetus said, "Control thy passions lest they take vengeance on thee." That's what maturity really means: control. You don't let emotion run your choices. You don't let insecurity guide your behavior. You flirt through restraint, not neediness. You lead through stillness, not dominance. So stop thinking your age is a disadvantage. It's your leverage. Maturity is the filter that refines every other quality: your humor, your confidence, your way of seeing the world. You've earned depth through experience, and depth is what women crave once they've outgrown superficial charm. If you want to stand out, don't hide your years. Own them. Speak slower. Move with purpose. Show patience in the places most men rush. Because when you embrace maturity, you stop competing with the young and become the standard they can't reach. If you understand that kind of power, ground it now. Comment, I move with calm. Keep watching. The next part will show you how to speak without words, using your body language to create attraction that feels instinctive and undeniable. Number 3. The language of the body. Before you ever say a word, your body is already speaking for you. The way you walk into a room, the way you stand, the way your eyes move, all of it sends a signal. Women, especially younger women, are experts at reading that signal. They notice the little things most men overlook: a restless glance, a nervous laugh, a slouched posture. You can't fake body language for long, because it reveals what you truly feel. That's why mastering it is one of the most powerful tools an older man can develop. Let's take Daniel, 51, a marketing consultant, and Olivia, 39, a fitness instructor he met at a charity event. Daniel told me later I didn't even talk much that night, but somehow we ended up texting after. When I asked him what happened, he said, I just stayed relaxed. I didn't rush to approach her. I caught her eye once, smiled, and went back to my drink. That calm, self-assured presence was all it took. Olivia later told him, You looked like you were completely in control, like nothing could shake you. That's what drew me in. That's body language done right. It's not loud, it's grounded. You don't lean forward when you speak. You hold your space. You don't force eye contact. You let it linger naturally. You don't fidget or rush your gestures. Everything about your movement should say one thing: I'm comfortable with myself. When a woman sees that, she instantly feels your maturity without a word. Here's the secret most men miss: your body reveals whether you're chasing or leading. A man who chases leans in, talks fast, breaks his own rhythm. A man who leads slows down. He lets others adjust to his pace. That's the power of the Stoic body composure in motion. Marcus Aurelius said, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In other words, your reaction gives power away. Your posture should communicate one message: I am unaffected. Younger women are drawn to that stillness because it contrasts with the frantic energy they see everywhere. They meet men who compete for their attention, talk over them, or act overly confident. Then they meet the older man who simply is. He doesn't need to fill silence. He doesn't need to perform. That energy feels different. It feels safe, but charged, like tension waiting to unfold. Daniel's secret wasn't what he said, it was what he didn't say. His silence had presence. His eyes held a quiet curiosity instead of expectation. His movements were slow, deliberate, and steady. Olivia's mind filled in the blanks. She wondered, why is he so calm? What's behind that smile? And that's where attraction begins, not in words, but in imagination. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Next time you're around someone, you're drawn to check your body before your mouth. Stand tall, shoulders relaxed, chin slightly up. Keep your breathing deep and steady. When she speaks, listen not just with your ears, but with your eyes. Let your expression show attention, not tension. This is how you speak the language of the body. You project confidence without saying a thing. And the quieter your confidence, the louder it's felt. If you're ready to carry that kind of energy, claim it now. Comment, I lead with presence. Stay tuned, because next we'll dive into the art of compliments that go beyond surface-level flattery and touch something much deeper. Number 4. Compliments that touch deeper. Most men compliment women the same way they point out what's obvious. You look great. You have beautiful eyes. That dress is stunning. Sure, those words sound polite, but they don't move her. They bounce off the surface. Real attraction begins when a woman feels seen, not scanned. And that happens when your compliments reach beneath appearance and touch her essence. You see, women hear shallow compliments all the time. They've been told they're pretty since they were 12. What they rarely hear is appreciation for who they are, for the energy they bring into a room, the way they think, the small things they do that go unnoticed. That's where your advantage as a mature man comes in. You've lived enough to notice the subtle things others miss. That's what makes your attention different. A real compliment isn't flattery, it's observation. It's quiet, honest, and precise. Instead of "you're beautiful, try," you have a calm way of making people comfortable. Instead of "you look amazing tonight," say, "there's something about your energy that feels grounded, it's rare." Those kinds of words don't sound rehearsed, they sound felt. And that's what women remember. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When your thoughts are shallow, your words follow. But when your thoughts are intentional, they hit deeper." Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering awareness. Compliments rooted in awareness are more powerful because they come from presence, not impulse. Here's the key: when you give a compliment, you don't expect a reaction. You give it and move on. That detachment is what separates genuine confidence from validation seeking. Most men linger after they say something nice, waiting for a thank you, a smile, some sign of approval. But the confident man doesn't need it. His compliment stands on its own. He's not feeding ego, he's expressing truth. Younger women notice this difference immediately. A man who flatters feels like he wants something. A man who appreciates feels like he gets something, like he understands her on a level others don't. That emotional recognition is what stirs attraction. It makes her think, "This man sees me in a way others can't." Stoicism teaches us to be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. That's a perfect mindset for connection. It means you observe others with empathy, not judgment, while holding yourself to a higher standard. When you carry that into conversation, your compliments shift from empty praise to genuine understanding. So before you say anything, slow down. Watch her expressions, her tone, her rhythm. Then notice something that feels authentic. Maybe it's the way she listens deeply. Maybe it's how she lights up when she talks about something she loves. Speak to that. When your attention becomes art, your words become touch. And here's the beauty: you don't need to say much. One sincere compliment can plant a seed that lingers far longer than 10 empty ones. If you're ready to go beyond small talk and master real emotional connection, the kind that makes women feel understood on a level most men never reach, join the members area. Inside, you'll get exclusive weekly lessons, private discussions, and Stoic-based training designed to sharpen your presence, refine your communication, and elevate your relationships. Because when you learn how to speak with this kind of awareness, you don't just attract women, you inspire them. If that's the energy you're ready to embody, write it down right now. Comment, "I see beyond the surface." Stay tuned, because next we'll talk about shared experiences and how creating moments together builds emotional chemistry faster than any pickup line ever could. Number 5. Shared moments that build desire. Attraction doesn't grow in grand gestures, it grows in shared moments. The quiet ones. The small ones that seem ordinary at the time but end up echoing in memory. Younger women don't fall for older men because of money or status. They fall for how those men make them feel when they're together, safe, curious, and fully present in the moment. Shared experiences create that feeling. They build emotional gravity. Let's look at Robert, 58, and Megan, 41. They met at a jazz lounge through mutual friends. On their second meeting, Robert didn't plan anything elaborate. He invited her to a Sunday farmers market. They walked, tasted samples, talked about food and music, and laughed at a street performer's bad jokes. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. A few days later, Megan texted him, "I don't know why, but that morning keeps replaying in my head." That's what shared moments do. They plant emotional anchors. Robert didn't try to impress her. He just shared something authentic. His calm energy made the space feel open. He didn't rush. He didn't fill every silence. He let the experience breathe. And in that calm, connection grew. You see, attraction is sensory. It's built through what both people feel in real time, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the emotions attached to each. The Stoics might not have talked about dating, but they understood something deeper. Presence is power. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." In other words, stop overthinking. Stop rehearsing what to say next or how to act. Just be there. When you're fully present, you stop trying to perform, and that's when real chemistry begins. The beauty of shared experiences is that they bypass logic. A woman might tell herself she's just spending time with you casually, but her body and mind start to link emotions to your presence. That's why simple activities, walking, cooking together, exploring a new cafe work better than expensive dinners or flashy dates. The brain ties comfort, laughter, and ease to the person you share them with. That's what desire really is, a memory of how you made her feel. For older men, this is your biggest advantage. You understand pacing. You've lived long enough to appreciate moments instead of rushing through them. When you create experiences built on presence instead of pressure, you become unforgettable. She might meet younger men who bring energy, but they rarely bring calm. And calm is what stays. Robert told me later, "I realized I didn't need to talk her into anything. I just had to enjoy the day." That's the secret. When you stop trying to make something happen, it happens naturally. You let her curiosity fill the silence. You let laughter replace effort. That's what makes her think about you later, not the words you said, but the energy she felt. So here's your takeaway: build memories, not moments of performance. Choose experiences that let both of you relax. Let her see your humor, your patience, your steady pace. When you do, you're not just another man she met. You become a part of her emotional world. If that's the kind of connection you want to build, lock it in right now. Comment, "I create connection." Stick with me, because next we'll uncover the secret of timing and touch, and how the smallest gestures done with calm intention can turn quiet chemistry into undeniable desire. Number 6, the timing of touch. Touch is powerful, but only when it's earned. Most men rush it. They reach too soon, too often, trying to create closeness before it naturally exists. But real connection, especially between an older man and a younger woman, grows in rhythm. Timing turns touch from an action into an experience. It's not about the moment you make contact, it's about the space you create before it happens. Every woman feels the difference between touch that's forced and touch that's fluent. One feels like pressure, the other feels like presence. The man who understands timing knows that anticipation is more seductive than instant gratification. He lets tension breathe. He knows that desire isn't built in the act, it's built in the pause before the act. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's exactly what the timing of touch teaches: self-mastery. You control your impulse. You don't touch to take, you touch to communicate. A light hand on her back when you're guiding her through a doorway, a brief touch on the arm when she laughs. These moments aren't sexual, but they carry sexual energy. The difference is intention. Your calmness gives those gestures meaning. Younger women can feel when a man is centered versus when he's grasping for validation. Touch without patience feels needy, but touch that emerges from stillness feels confident, even masculine. It says, "I know what I want, but I don't need to rush toward it." That's rare, and rarity is what makes it unforgettable. Think about how you move when you're calm. Your breathing slows, your gestures follow. That's exactly the rhythm women respond to. You don't have to initiate anything. Your energy already has presence. When you finally do touch, it lands with weight because your timing says, "I notice you and I respect your space." In the modern world, physical contact is often misunderstood or misused. But when guided by Stoic principles, intention, patience, and control, it becomes an expression of awareness, not aggression. Seneca once wrote, "Nothing is ours except time." The same applies here. You own nothing except the timing of your presence. Touch too soon and you lose mystery. Touch too late and you lose momentum. The art lies in feeling the moment, not forcing it. The secret is attention. True timing comes from paying attention to her cues, her tone, her pace, her proximity. You match her rhythm, not override it. That's how trust grows. And once trust exists, even the smallest touch can feel electric. A hand that rests briefly, a glance that lingers. These things matter far more than anything physical. They communicate patience, confidence, and grounded desire. Touch should always mirror your mindset, calm, deliberate, and aware. If you're anxious, your gestures will show it. If you're grounded, your touch will feel safe. That safety is what opens the door to intimacy. So don't focus on when to touch. Focus on being the kind of man whose energy makes touch natural. When your presence feels calm and composed, everything you do, your words, your silence, your movements feels like connection. And when you master that, you don't chase touch, you attract it. If that's the kind of calm control you want to embody, make it clear right now. Comment, I master the pause. Stay tuned, because next we'll explore how humor, when used with intention and self-awareness, can disarm resistance and create instant emotional chemistry. Number 7. Humor that disarms and draws her in. Humor is one of the most underrated forms of attraction, especially for older men. But not the loud, performative kind. The type that makes a younger woman feel at ease, that softens her guard, that says, I'm comfortable in my skin, and you can be too. The truth is, humor isn't about being funny, it's about being present. And presence, when combined with wit, becomes magnetic. Let's talk about Paul, 55, a real estate broker who recently started seeing Jenna, 40. They met at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. When Jenna mentioned how awkward group dinners can feel, Paul smiled and said, That's why I stick to my end of the table, less competition for breadsticks and better escape routes. She laughed, not because it was the world's best joke, but because it felt effortless. It didn't try too hard. It came from confidence, not performance. That's the key. Humor that disarms comes from calm observation, not nervous energy. You see, humor has two purposes in attraction. First, it lowers tension. Second, it reveals mindset. Younger women can tell within seconds if a man's humor is relaxed or reactive. The relaxed kind says, I see the world through ease. The reactive kind says, I need to impress you. One draws her closer, the other pushes her away. Paul didn't rush to prove he was funny. He let the moment breathe. His humor felt like a warm current, steady, light, and inviting. Jenna later told him, You made me laugh without making it about you. That's the difference between a man who performs and a man who connects. Humor also shows emotional intelligence. It tells her you can handle life's chaos without losing balance. That steadiness feels rare in today's world. When a woman laughs with you, not because you're trying to impress her, but because you both see life's little absurdities, it builds something deeper than amusement. It builds ease. And ease, gentlemen, is the gateway to desire. Now, don't mistake subtle humor for sarcasm or teasing. Sarcasm often masks insecurity. Real humor invites, not deflects. It's self-aware without being self-deprecating. You can laugh at yourself, but you never make yourself small. The Stoics understood this balance. Epictetus said, It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. The man who can laugh lightly at life proves he isn't disturbed by it. That's what makes him attractive. The beauty of humor at your age is that you've lived enough to see irony everywhere. You can find humor in reality without bitterness. You can joke about getting older, but do it from a place of acceptance, not complaint. That difference is everything. Women sense whether your humor comes from peace or from pain. When it comes from peace, it feels safe. It draws them in. Paul told me later that after that dinner, Jenna texted him saying, "You're too calm, it's disarming." That's exactly what the right humor does. It disarms because it feels genuine, not strategic. It makes her drop the defenses she uses with men who try too hard. So next time you're in a conversation, don't chase laughter, create comfort. Let your humor come from presence, from noticing, from being unshaken. When you can do that, she doesn't just laugh, she relaxes. And a relaxed woman is an open woman. If you're ready to lead with that kind of calm wit, make it known right now. Comment, "I lead with ease." Stay with me, because next we'll uncover how your physical presence, your posture, your stillness, and your ability to own space pulls her in before you ever say a word. Number 8. Owning your space, not her attention. One of the biggest mistakes older men make when flirting with younger women is chasing her attention instead of owning their space. You see, when you try to win her attention, you give away power. But when you stand in your space with calm certainty, attention comes naturally. Because attraction isn't about taking, it's about radiating. Every man gives off an energy field. The insecure man's energy leaks, he reaches, fidgets, adjusts, explains, overcompensates. The grounded man's energy expands, steady, quiet, self-contained. He doesn't need to control the room because the room adjusts to him. That's the essence of owning your space. It's physical, yes, but it's also emotional. It's how you breathe, how you move, and what you don't do when things get uncertain. When you own your space, you become a mirror of stability in a chaotic world. Women sense that immediately. It's not about being the loudest or the biggest presence in the room. It's about calm density, being fully there. You're not trying to impress or react. You're simply centered. That energy communicates more than words ever could. Stoicism teaches this perfectly. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." That's the core of owning your space. Your peace is your home base. When you stop seeking validation, you start radiating composure. And composure is magnetic. Here's what it looks like in practice. You walk into a bar, a coffee shop, or a dinner party. You don't rush to make small talk or prove you belong. You take a breath. You scan the room slowly. You move with intention. When you speak, your tone is measured. You listen more than you talk. And when you meet her eyes, you hold that moment, not too long, not too short. Just long enough to show that you see her, but you're not waiting for her to decide your worth. Younger women are drawn to that energy because it contrasts so sharply with what they're used to. Most men, regardless of age, seek to be noticed. But when you're the man who's already enough, you become the one they notice without trying. Your self-possession invites curiosity. She wonders, who is this man who seems so unbothered? Why does his stillness feel so strong? Owning your space also means being grounded in your body. Your posture speaks louder than your words. Stand tall but relaxed. Shoulders open, head level, breathing deep. Every movement should look like a choice, not a reaction. Even the way you sit comfortable, not stiff, says, "I'm settled in myself." When you occupy space with that quiet confidence, it makes her feel like she's entering your world, not that you're begging to enter hers. Epictetus wrote, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." That's a reminder to stay teachable, even as you stay calm. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's humility with self-control. You don't dominate space, you harmonize with it. You respect it. And that respect translates into the kind of power that doesn't need to shout. So stop chasing validation. Stop adjusting yourself to win her gaze. Instead, let your presence fill the moment naturally. When you master that, you no longer depend on attention, you command it through stillness. If that's the energy you're ready to own, claim it right now. Comment, "I hold my space." Let's keep going, because next we'll explore how quiet confidence transforms from inner control into outer magnetism, creating attraction that feels effortless and deep. Number 9. The magnetic edge of confidence. Confidence is not about what you say, it's about what you don't need to say. Most men think confidence means being loud, assertive, or dominant. But real confidence is quiet. It's felt before it's seen. It's the calm undercurrent that tells a woman, I'm grounded. I'm not trying to win you, I'm already enough. That energy doesn't chase, it draws in. Let's look at Michael, 53, a financial advisor, and Ashley, 38, a graphic designer. They met through mutual friends at a wine bar. While everyone around them was talking over each other, Michael barely said much. He listened, smiled when appropriate, and spoke only when he had something to say. He didn't interrupt. He didn't try to dominate the table. But when he did speak, people listened. There was weight behind his words, not because of what he said, but because of how he said it. Ashley later told him, "You had this calm confidence, it felt different. Like you didn't care whether people agreed with you or not." That's the magnetic edge we're talking about. The kind that comes from inner security, not performance. Confidence is energy that comes from knowing who you are and not needing validation for it. You've lived enough to see what matters and what doesn't. You've fallen, rebuilt, learned and grown. Every scar, every lesson, it all adds layers to your presence. When you carry that history with grace, instead of bitterness, it becomes charisma. Not the loud, performative kind, but the steady, compelling kind that younger women can feel. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Confidence starts in the mind. What you believe about yourself colors everything. You project your tone, your body language, even your silence. If you believe you're enough, she will feel it before you open your mouth. If you believe you have to prove yourself, she'll feel that too. Michael understood this instinctively. When Ashley asked about his work, he didn't list achievements. He told a story about how he failed in his early career and what it taught him about resilience. He didn't try to sound impressive, he just sounded real. That kind of honesty is magnetic because it signals strength through vulnerability. It shows that you're self-aware, not self-centered. Confidence also means being unshaken by outcome. You're not attached to whether she likes you. You're focused on showing up as your best self. That detachment creates freedom. And freedom, gentlemen, is irresistible. Women can sense when a man is internally free. It feels like space. It feels like safety. It's the same reason calm seas draw people in. They trust the stillness. What destroys confidence is comparison. When you measure yourself against younger men, you instantly lose your edge. You start mimicking energy that isn't yours. But when you embrace your season of life, the experience, the patience, the quiet power, you stand apart. That's when confidence turns magnetic. It's not forced, it's earned. Ashley later told Michael something that sums it up perfectly. "You felt like a man who didn't need to be noticed, but I noticed you anyway." That's it. The moment you stop performing, you start radiating. So remember this, confidence isn't the volume of your words, it's the weight of your silence. It's not showing off, it's showing up. And when your energy says, "I'm grounded, I'm capable, I'm calm," she feels it in her body before she understands it in her mind. If that's the kind of man you're ready to be, anchor it now. Comment, "I move with quiet power." Stay tuned because next we'll bring everything together in one final system: how to flirt like a Stoic, calm, certain and impossible to forget. Number 10. Flirting like a Stoic. Flirting like a Stoic isn't about being cold, distant or emotionless. It's about being anchored. It's attraction built on control, not chaos. It's knowing that real charm doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from being harder to shake. When you flirt like a Stoic, you replace anxiety with awareness, ego with presence, and desire with calm direction. Most men, when they flirt, operate from reaction. They seek approval through constant talking, touching, and joking. They chase chemistry like it's something outside of themselves. But the Stoic man flips that. He knows the most powerful energy in the room is his self-command. When he's centered, he doesn't perform attraction, he becomes it. Here's the key idea. Stoic flirting is about control over your impulses. You notice desire rise, but you don't let it dictate your behavior. You feel attraction, but you don't rush it. That stillness builds tension. It's the same principle Marcus Aurelius lived by when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength doesn't push, it pulls." The woman across from you can feel your calm. You're not trying to make something happen. You're simply being fully present in the moment, and that presence carries weight. When you speak, it's deliberate. When you look at her, it's steady. When you smile, it's subtle, like you know something but don't need to explain it. That's Stoic magnetism, quiet, intentional, and deeply masculine. The Stoic man also understands detachment from outcome. He flirts because it's natural to his energy, not because he's seeking a result. Whether she laughs, leans in, or drifts away, he remains unchanged. That emotional consistency is rare and incredibly attractive. It signals to her subconscious, this man doesn't depend on me for validation. He already has peace, and peace, when combined with presence, feels like power. Think about it. When was the last time you met someone who was completely unbothered? Someone who didn't chase, didn't compete, didn't perform. That's the effect of Stoic flirting. It's steady, confident, but never controlling. It's not about seduction as strategy, it's about awareness as energy. Stoic flirting also relies on deep listening. You don't just hear her words, you hear the rhythm beneath them. You pay attention to tone, expression, and energy. You respond slowly, thoughtfully. You match her pace, not her pressure. That makes her feel seen, and in a world of men who talk too much, being seen is a rare gift. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." In modern terms, bravery means being authentic. You don't fear silence. You don't force connection. You let things unfold because you trust your presence to do the work. That's real courage, the courage to stay calm when others rush. Flirting like a Stoic isn't about pretending to be above emotion. It's about feeling deeply while remaining steady. You can express attraction, humor, and warmth without losing control. You can create intimacy without chasing it. The difference is that your desire serves you, not the other way around. And here's the ultimate secret: women don't remember lines or gestures. They remember energy. The way you made them feel calm, yet alive. The way your stillness created safety, while your confidence sparked curiosity. That's what makes them think about you later. Not what you said, but what you embodied. So flirt like a Stoic, stay grounded, stay observant, and let your calm speak louder than your words. Because the man who doesn't need to prove his power is the one who truly has it. If you're ready to live that truth, not just learn it, make it your practice. The discipline of calm attraction isn't something you perform, it's something you become. Thank you for watching, gentlemen. Stay grounded, stay strong, and remember, confidence is silent, control is attractive, and presence, true presence, is unforgettable. See you tomorrow.